Hi, hi. Good evening, everybody. My name's Daniel Holder. I'm a parish councillor in the Matterdale parish and also the managing director of the Quiet Site, a holiday park located in the Ullswater Valley. My colleague Michael Firth and I are founding members of a group called Sustainable and Integrated Transport for Ullswater, SITU for short. And if you're interested, I should say probably right away that we have a website, www.situcumbria.co.uk. So have a look at that if you need to know any of the finer details. This is a community group set up at the end of 2020 because we wanted to do something about the way people move around within our valley. Our members are all volunteers from 5 parishes around the Ullswater Valley, representing residents, visitor-facing businesses and local councils. So what are the transport-related issues for our valley? Well, we believe they are pollution and congestion, and these both come from too many cars. Cars are also the main emitters of carbon from tourism, in the main emitters of carbon. And congestion is a real problem within our challenging network of narrow lanes and dead ends in a similar way that you have in your valley. Gridlock is never far away. We see car numbers arriving in our valley increasing going forwards. We saw a step increase when the travel restrictions were lifted after COVID. And we see other factors coming into play now as well, including increasing car ownership, an increase in popularity in our valley, the deregulation of accommodation through Airbnb and more recently the pop-up campsite extensions, a boom in staycation as international travel becomes more expensive against the backdrop of the cost of living crisis. And finally, when complete, the dualling of the A66 we feel will bring another step increase in traffic into our valley. So it's imperative that we act now before things get even worse. The solution is straightforward. We just need to encourage people out of their cars. In addition to dealing with congestion, removing cars from the roads will also help Cumbria's net zero target. And I say encourage rather than get, because that's what we want to do. We want people to come out of their cars by choice. That in turn means providing alternative forms of transport that are cost effective and that match the convenience and utility of a car and also could provide an attractive experience that are preferable to cars. And the alternatives must be integrated with each other so that people can move around easily from one to the other during the course of their journey. Accordingly, the SITU vision, which is on the website, is a sustainable and integrated transport system for the Ullswater Valley, which will benefit community, local businesses and visitors alike. To achieve concrete progress towards this vision, there are a number of key things that we found we needed to do. First, we need to engage and work closely with a wide variety of stakeholders within the valley. Second, we have set ourselves a series of goals to ensure that we do something rather than just talking about it. And third, we have noticed how important it is to change perception to help people realise what is actually possible. So having given you an introduction to who we are, how we came to exist, I'll now tell you about a few things that we've actually done so far. Firstly, number one, the Open Road Day. The idea behind this was to allow non-car users to enjoy a beautiful section of road free from cars for just one day a year. The initiative was hoped to allow people to reimagine how existing roads could be used. We applied for and gained planning permission to close a section of the A592 for just a few hours on one Sunday. Sadly, we had to delay this initiative due to the highways closing the road before we could. But the project hopefully will still go ahead with the next 2 or 3 years, touch wood. Secondly, number two, the Emont Way, a scenic, family-friendly walking route from Penrith Railway Station to Pooley Bridge Steamer Pier. The Emont Way opened in April 2023, and it is a result of a collaboration between SITU, Friends of the Ullswater Way, and the National Park, with the support of many other people and organisations. It has proved immensely popular with both residents and visitors alike, with more than 1,000 users every month. The third thing we've done, the Ullswater Hopper Bus. As a long-standing operator in our valley, we know where our guests want to visit when they're staying with us. We have thousands of visitor surveys to support this. The Ullswater hopper bus routes are designed to link accommodations with attractions. So I'll just say that again. They link accommodations with attractions. They don't just wander around the place. There's a very definite plan there. Last year, we moved 1,100 people with just one bus. This year so far, we've moved more than 3,000 people with 2 buses. Funding is via a combination of grant money, business pledges. We have 32 businesses in the Valley of Ullswater, and 31 have pledged money between £50 and £5,000. And also fair income, of course, is another funding route, but we don't really know how much that's going to be until the end of the year. Hence, the pledges takes that uncertainty out. At present, we only run at weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, and bank holidays.
We've got a red card, Daniel. Sorry.
So what
go ahead.
What do you mean by fair income? You mean
FARE?
Okay, so when Stagecoach sell a ticket, the income comes to us. So that's one of the ways in which we pay the bus. So it's through Stagecoach. So the bus costs about, I think, about 450 quid a day to run. So and so the more people we can get on the bus, the better things become. I mean, I've stopped my clock for this red card. So in the stop clock, I can tell you that one of the really great things is by having companies pledge money towards it, is that it's in their interest to get their customers on board, because the more money we can raise through fair income, the lower amount of pledges we'll have to take up. So the pro rata pledge request this year is going to be in the region. At the moment, it's running at between 20 and 30% of what people have pledged. So if a company pledged £1,000 at the moment, we're going to be asking for about 300, and that won't happen till the end of the road in November. So I'll start my clock again now.
Very much,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Fourthly, cycle networks. Once in the valley, we have already the beginnings of a network of good cycle routes, particularly in the minor roads north of Ullswater. But again, here there is an issue in the form of the A66, which currently has no family-friendly safe crossing points for cyclists, and this is something we're trying hard to resolve. We have the beginnings of a useful cycle hire scheme. Arrogans and Ullswater e-bikes will, between them, deliver rental bikes to any accommodation in the valley. And it is also possible for people arriving by train to be met at the station with a rental bike. There is a big cycle hire scheme at Lowther, and bikes are also permanently available at a couple of other accommodations within the Ullswater Valley. So lots of ideas and lots to do, but what's next for us? So I'll just run through our aspirations quickly, although I'm slightly over time. More visitors arriving by rail at Penrith and then travelling on to Ullswater. Safe and easy travel from Penrith to the Ullswater Valley by bicycle. Safe and family-friendly cycle routes around the valley. An extension of the bike hire loan scheme. And in consultation with local communities, businesses and relevant authorities, we are very keen to set up a park and ride scheme around the valley. This would mean new car parks, which of course at the moment is very much against the national park policy, but it's worth noting that around 80% of the cars in our valley are day trippers. So as accommodations, we can't do anything about those guys. So hence the need for park and ride. We'd also like to see the imaginative use of technology to help residents and visitors plan more sustainable travel options. And I think that Cumbria Tourism are working on that at the moment. Smaller and more frequent vehicles used for public transport, more suited to narrow roads and the safety of pedestrians and cyclists. We'd like to see the lake become a transport corridor in its own right. And finally, both visitors and locals choosing to leave their cars at home because they have access to more frequent and affordable public transport, lift share schemes and safer roads. We think this sounds like common sense. The price of doing nothing will be many more cars in the valley, and this will have implications for businesses, visitors and locals alike, and will certainly not help us to reach our net zero targets. SITU is not proposing a car-free valley, but one where the vast majority of our visitors and local community choose to move around the valley by bike, bus, boat or boot. And that's it. Thank you for listening.